Welcome to the Totally Honest Cooking Show. My name is Mark. This morning we are doing steak and eggs. It's a rainy Saturday morning, so I got my T-bone out. Get yourself a T-bone roughly the shape of Ohio. Get some kosher salt and give it a light salting. Don't go as heavy as you would with a bigger hunk of meat like a ribeye. You'll notice that this steak is like micro thin. And this is the kind of steak I like with steak and eggs just because it is so thin. You don't want to have a giant steak if you're also having eggs and potatoes, you know. Anyway, hit it with a little pepper. Just a couple twists on each side. Now we're going to let this sit for an hour and let the salt do its magic. After that, we're going to heat it on the cast iron. Okay, the steak's been resting for a little while. Now it's time to prep the potato. This is kind of a medium-sized potato. And I'm just going to start by halving it. You can peel the potato if you want. A lot of people do. But this is a lazy Saturday potato, so it's keeping its clothes on. And I'm just going to dice it. And we dice it by just adding a slit horizontally, a couple more slits vertically. I try to keep it as together as possible. And then I just make dice. Now we're going to throw our potatoes onto our skillet. We preheat our skillet so we hear that lovely sizzle as soon as we add our potatoes. And right away, you're going to want to hit your potatoes with salt. You can even do this before you add them to the pan. And you're going to use a little bit more salt than you think you need because the potatoes have a lot of moisture in them. When it comes to fat, you can use oil, you can use butter, but the key here is to keep the heat kind of even. This is medium heat. Monitor it so that if the oil goes away, you add more oil. At the end, we'll turn the heat up to high and kind of crisp it. Notice we haven't said anything about the steak yet, and that's because the potatoes are going to take a lot longer than the steak. So what we're going to do, we're going to let this go for a little bit. Then when it starts looking like it's almost done, we're going to heat up the cast iron. We're going to drop the steak on. This steak is only going to take a couple minutes aside. Honestly, this size steak, it looks at the grill, it's done. If you're new at this, you'll notice that it's going to start picking up color over time. You're going to want to be turning these potatoes every now and then just to make sure that you get the coloration and the crisp. They're starting to get close to done, so I'm going to add my seasonings. I'm going to add a couple twists of pepper. I'm going to add a couple shakes of garlic powder, because I love me some garlic. Then I'm going to add some basil and oregano. Now, some people may say that that's a little bit over seasoning, but that's how I like them. Notice that once they start picking up that crust, they're nearly done. We're going to keep them moving them a little bit so that they don't burn. You could have gone at a lower temperature for longer and maybe formed that crust, but I tend to go medium heat till I get close to the end. Then I use high heat to try to get a little bit more color on them. Now, while those are going, I'm going to turn on my cast iron. It'll heat up quick while these are doing that. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this. Okay, these potatoes look lovely, so I'm going to just say they are done. So I'm going to plate my potatoes. Don't get disheartened if everything doesn't finish at the same time. You're not a short order cook, so it'll keep hot. It'll be fine. We're getting the skillet over here for the steak nice and hot. We're going to drop him on there. And you should hear that sizzle right away. If you don't take him off, wait a minute. Then we're gonna crush a couple cloves of garlic. If you've got some fresh herbs, you can add that too. But this will do just fine for me. Drop these on there. While that's going, bring this back up to temp. Splash on a little bit of oil just in case. Not a lot, just a little. Yeah. Nice and translucent. Get my eggs. And we're just going to do 2 right on the griddle. Okay, the eggs are looking mostly done, so I'm gonna hit them with a cover, let them steam a little bit, see if my steak looks a little better. Little better, not a lot better. We'll just let it kiss the other side then, because... Okay, we're gonna give her a flip. Press her a little bit. I don't know if the pressing does anything, but trying to pick up some color on that other side. Like I said, these do cook super fast. We're going to give it a little butter baste. I'd give you a close-up, but in order to give you a close-up, I got to put my head right next to it. And I don't want to take some butter in the eye. And we are ready. Check that. Yep. And get our eggs. Alright, now that she's plated, there are a couple things that we can do to make her a little Instagram worthy. Right? We're going to poke her yolks. Get that lovely color going. Hopefully it won't run off the plate. If it does, we'll clean it up later. Give her a twist of pepper. Not even a twist, like a quarter twist. And then add a little parsley. If you want to cheese up those potatoes, you can. But she's ready now for all you kids on the gram. Take a look at her. All right. Like, subscribe, click the little bell. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Details are in the description with any cooking instructions that you might need after this. Thanks for dropping by. See you next time.